Hi, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much, Jadan, for that amazing introduction and opening remarks. Thank you so much to Builders Collective and Miami Hack Week for this amazing start to Basel Week. And thank you all for attending today's panel discussion. So, first of all, I would like to introduce our amazing panelists of the day. You'll find that these are incredibly talented women who are not only doing groundbreaking initiatives in these industries, but also we all are in the same kind of space and bringing this to light for women of the future. So first I would like to introduce Ana Cervantes. She is the founder of Key Method, which you'll come to find that is a very interesting new approach to wellness and healing. We also have Jessica Campbell from Creative Currents, and recently Jessica and I have had the pleasure to work on amazing initiatives having to do with AI, and we also are introducing a multi-talented person. We have Odie Sanesh, who is founder of Odd Creatives, as well as the editor-at-large at Sean Magazine, which will we have an amazing activation post the panels today. And lastly, we have local love, the person that we love, Brittany Berger from Mindful Music Lab. So she's also the founder of this amazing recording studio that not only allows artists to have a amazing platform to use their talent, but also she is using sound healing and meditation in this space also to groundbreaking initiatives. So allow me with a round of applause to welcome our beautiful and amazing panelists. And we're gonna get right to it because we know it's Basel and you guys have another 10 million things to do, and along with traffic, we all know that that doesn't help. So I'll start with everybody here is in a different industry space. So Anna from Key Method is in the wellness space. We have Creative Currents, who's in the technology and AI space. We have Odie, who's actually in the art, editorial, and also in the technology space, working with AI. And then we have Brittany in the music industry. So as you guys know, all these industries have come with their challenges over the past decade or so, whether it's about gender inequality or not enough access to funding or gender bias or many of the different challenges that women face not only in our day-to-day basis but also in these emerging industries like technology, wellness, art, and music. So first, I wanted to talk about, and each of the panelists can kind of speak on their own personal experience on one of the challenging things that they've experienced in their industries and kind of how are they currently working to break those challenges and overcome them, and as well as if they have any advice for anybody in the emerging industries as well. So we'll start with you, Anna.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. So Key Method is a tool that helps people to remove the excessive amount of information in their brains and cells. So one of the main challenges that I find within this industry is there are so many wellness techniques that practicing a mindful life can be overwhelming. So a lot of people get stressed about how am I gonna meditate? How am I gonna go to the gym and this and that? So one of the main things we approach here is like cleaning your mind. Hello? Hello? Okay. Cleaning your mind is as important as taking a shower, brushing your teeth, and creating this awareness in people that by removing this excessive information, we allow to dive into a more blissful and present life. And once you're present, your life will change forever. So our main challenge could be like the excessive amount of information and how can just wanting to be like create a better life can create confusion and can be overwhelming. So we're here to remove that.
Hello, my name is Jessica Campbell. As you heard, I have Creative Currents. It's for creatives in tech and creatives who want to tech. My background is a producer working in creative agencies for over 10 years. And I guess like my villain origin story, not really villain, but like, you know, it's interesting that people can be almost labeled a villain when they start to step out their comfort zone and start to represent themselves a little bit differently. So I would say the challenge that I was experiencing in those spaces was, you know, of course, like being a woman or being a woman of color, I was like always the one black person or the one girl on the team, and I've been experiencing that my entire career. But I had to, you know, start to like put that away because you felt like that was there all the time. But then I guess when I was told in a review once, in my written review, Jessica needs to stay in her lane. She's not a creative. And I was like, damn, like you got to come at me at all ends. So for me, it was, you know, continuing to push forward. I always, you know, I lived in New York, and you hear that quote, closed mouths don't get fed. And I guess I just really leaned into that, and I was okay with being at the squeaky wheel. But specifically with Creative Currents, you know, the whole stay in your lane comment, I really believe in creating your own lane. And, you know, it doesn't have to be as intensive as, you know, not everybody has to get on a panel, has to like create an event series. It's a lot of energy to do that all the time. But if you don't see the box that you necessarily want to fit in, but you have that idea in your mind, create it. And I really believe in, like, if you build it, they will come. And if they is just like 2 people and that's enough to like bump you up, or just like yourself coming, like, and getting into that and feeling like inspired by yourself showing up and seeing through that dream that you wanted to put through, whether it's a 1-year goal, a 10-year goal, a 2-month goal, yeah, just create your own lane.
Hi everyone, I'm Odie, as you can see. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe what I do because I do many things, but in the past few years I'm focusing on working as the editor-at-large of Sean magazine, which is based in Switzerland, and I opened my own agency like 3 years ago, Odd Creatives. I moved from Tel Aviv to New York, which was a very big change 6 years ago. And I've been also dealing, as my fellows here, with not just the fact of being a woman in, you know, mostly male industries. I'm also a foreigner, which is always a little bit harder, especially here. And I found that, like, finding the right job for me was always a hustle, even in Israel, because there even more, because there's not a lot of things that are multidisciplinary, and I was a multidisciplinary student. Like, I studied multidisciplinary art. So I do feel that, like, the challenge is actually finding your place where you can express yourself in the most pure way. And I feel that in the magazine I can do it. The challenge is that the magazine is a fashion magazine. So I am in between fashion and art throughout my whole life since I'm 15 years old. And there's no money in those industries, especially where the magazine is basically, it's a print magazine. We do have the digital aspect. We do have a supplement that is like Shun, Meta Shun. We do have that. It's like I work with AI, but like it's print. And print is dying. So yeah, that's a real challenge, but I will keep, you know, do what I love. I do love the physical aspect of it. I do love print, so I will just need to find a way, maybe in the future another magazine, maybe a bigger magazine, but that's the challenge for now, for sure. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Brittany, and I'm the founder of Mindful Music Lab, and it is a recording studio for music artists as well as people who want to come record books and meditation, and it's open for men, women, and children as well, and also it's a mindfulness spiritual space. So it's wellness and it's music, and I have rooms for Reiki energy healing, sound bowl therapy, meditation, mindfulness, where I'm blending the gap between mental health, wellness, and music and the creative process, which is something that should feel so natural, and I feel like why wasn't this created? Why don't women own studios? Why do a bunch of studios look like spaceships? Where's the groundedness, the openness, where it feels like home, the plants? And it did not exist, and so I created it. And it was so interesting to me just how this is really a male-dominated industry in the music industry. And in addition to the wellness space, I'm all about collaboration and community, and any time that I can bring people together and kind of the positive light in all industries, how can we blend both? How can we blend with art and culture, with meditation, with AI, with technology, with everything, with also the industry of just wellness? Music is a high vibrational frequency that I say heals the world. It's not just sound bowl therapy, it's what you listen to when you have an experience of an amazing memory, a bad memory, a certain situation where you're like, this reminds me exactly of this moment in time with these people 10 years ago, or what my mom used to sing to me. It's something that's integrated in your brain, and trying to program it into a way that makes life really more beautiful for you. Also, in just a studio space in general, I think is important to feel welcomed and at home. So I feel that the challenges that were bestowed upon me with this process, I've been open for about 8 months, and I had the idea to open a studio less than a year before it actually came to fruition, where I wanted to change and heal the world and the mental health of the music industry and the wellness community, because I'm from Miami, I'm born here, I was raised here, and I thought, how can I find all of the pockets of positivity, peace, light, and partnership between people and bring everybody together? And especially knowing that women don't have recording studios, how could I integrate everything that I know as a healer and as a writer and producer and musician, and make it something where it can be integrated with every field, not just a physical place, but a movement. So I know that when I had this idea, a lot of people in my life, bless them, that I love, who are men, didn't understand the concept and thought, I don't think this is gonna work. And I'm like, thank you so much for your perspective. I don't really care, I'm doing it anyway. Like, this is my goal, this is my dream, this is what I wanna do. And now that I finally opened many months ago, they're like, oh, I get it now, and you did it. So I feel like my advice would be, just do it. If you have a thought in your mind that you want to execute something and you figure out the ways to actually go about it and do it, ask questions, do your research. Yes, it's going to be challenging, but that's the point. Life isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to feel naturally in flow, and you have to keep pushing, because I'm not going to say that any of this, of building it, is easy. And even every day, everything is a challenge, but it's so worth it. I'd rather be doing this than nothing else. So you just have to love what you love, find what that is, let that find you, and just make it happen.
Amen to that. I love that closing statement. Thank you. Actually, Odie, now that we have you here as well, I wanted to see, since you've been in the industry and you've been multidisciplinary since very young, 15 years old, and dealing between fashion and art, how would you say, and what are like maybe the two top things that stand out to you the most in the past decade between both industries, fashion and art, and how have you seen technology be implemented into those two industries during your tenure in both industries?
Yeah, I'm going to start with fashion because that's my passion. I studied art, but definitely was working always, like you said, since I was very young in fashion. And the change that I kind of like embraced in the past year is definitely, we all talk about it, it's AI, but I'm going to talk about the practical part of it. So, for example, if 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I was only in charge of the idea and putting the references together and creating the mood board and then working with the team. And I needed a big team in order to create this visual that I have in my head or in the mood board. Today I can do many things on my own. So I'm not the type of person that actually create from scratch. I'm not there yet, maybe I will be, but today, for example, what I do is I get the editorials. If I feel that something is missing, I'm able to add it in a way that it looks as if it was on set. And this power for me is, the first time I tried it, I was like blown away. I felt like God, because I couldn't believe that I'm actually doing it. I'm not a technical person at all. I'm an artist, like in the flesh and bones, like that's, and the fact that I'm able to do that, and I see the amount of people that are like me, and I think it opens It opens like doors for a lot of creative people that weren't able until today to actually express themselves, and that's the power, and that's the big change, because you don't have to be a technical person. And all my life I felt like a little bit stupid when I was like in school and we were like doing Photoshop or doing all of that, because I'm just not. I'm too messy. Everything is always the other way around. You know, I'm doing things like always the wrong way. But now it's like the wrong way actually with AI. It's the right way, because whoever is playing with AI knows. It's kind of hard to explain that sentence, but I think it's a big change. It's like amazing. Yeah.
I love that perspective and feedback. And now, Jessica, since you have been in this space for a little while now and you've been spearheading really cool, I would say, initiatives with AI, how would you say the industry has changed from your producing days up until now? And what would you say has been like a difference that you've seen?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think we're all experiencing a change in the economy in one way or another this year. And working in agencies, no one can really put their finger on why things might be slowing down with projects or maybe the level of expectation, I would say. And maybe that's like one perspective that leans a little bit negative, but like maybe the expectation to work faster. But also, you know, when we all started latching on to AI about a year ago when ChatGPT came out, from my perspective in an agency setting, that most of the teams weren't latching on. Like, there was a really big resistance to how that, I think, challenged, you know, their role as a creative, or, you know, like how the inspiration process began. And when I do Creative Currents, I always ask this question. I'm like, feels on AI? And at the beginning of the year, everyone was like, ooh, scared, oh, not touching it. And now at the end of the year, in the professional setting and in Creative Currents, I'm seeing like a lot more, I guess, acceptance, adoption, almost like second nature. So I think that's really cool to see. But like you were saying as well, it's created such a level of access for everyone to express that creative portion of themselves. So to me, I think that's the most important part. So I'm on the same wavelength. I think we're all on the same wavelength there. Yeah, it's just like this access to creativity, this access to learning, this access to a level of technology that was seemingly out of reach. I think that's really cool. Yeah.
I like that. And with that, I'm going to jump right ahead into my next topic. So Anna, you can help me answer this. So I'm going to dive into a few trends that are currently happening in these industries, and I'm sure if you are a part of these industries, you'll be a little aware, but there's a lot of virtual reality and augmented reality in art therapy, and also wearable tech for wellness and biofeedback, which is when obviously you have machines now that take your heart rate, your brain waves, and actually we worked together with Jessica in one of these events where she did neuroscience for creatives, which was really interesting. But I wanted to ask Anna, with Key Methods, since this is such an innovative way to approach healing and wellness, how have you kind of included also technology into your practices, and now how you're going to be, you know, approaching your techniques in 2024?
So it's very interesting because in the wellness field, I've always been very connected to my intuition. I've always been passionate about meditating and like ancient practices, like healing practices with energy. And it always felt like, for me, it felt good. But for a lot of people, it's just a matter of, oh, these crazy people or whatever, I don't understand, or whatever, this crystal, like this girl is crazy talking about ancient healing techniques. And there was a moment which I'm extremely devoted to learning about this, that I discovered quantum physics. And that was like, for me, very interesting how science can explain a lot of things that cannot be explained in a way, or things that I was actually seeing, how you can connect reality and how everything works in a scientific way. Still, quantum physics and whatever happens in this quantum field is very unknown, and still a lot of research about this. Is something we try to put, but it's a great paradox because 5D works very different from 3D in a way. But as technology advances, there are some devices and things that are putting some kind of explanation to this. With Key Method, we have a machine of biofeedback that can read all the quantum, like the signals in your quantum field. So we have from 1 to 3, it can read everything that is in your cells. So any kind of condition, disease, or some like a virus, bacteria that it's in your body. From 4 to 6, it can read signals that are related to feelings and emotions with thoughts. From 7 to 9, it can read your like energy around. So let's say if there's some kind of information around in your quantum field of a condition that it's there. It can show up, it can recognize it. So it's probably something you could get ahead in years. So with this machine, we do a reading, and then you can create a card. This card is sticking to your body and teaches your body how to balance these signals. So as everything is information, we are shifting this information in your body, but not only in your body, in your life as well. At the same time, thoughts are the language of our brain, and everything we think, we are creating it within ourselves, in our body, and of course in our environment. So your thoughts are kind of a mirror of what is happening outside. So with AR, there's very interesting techniques where your brain doesn't know how to distinguish reality from something you're thinking. So whatever you're thinking, your brain and your body is actually experiencing it. So if you watch a horror movie, your body experiences it. So we're using the power of that to actually help people and empower people to create a different reality and not be stuck with everything that is happening around us. The quality of information we receive is the quality of life you're creating. So how can we use these devices to help you create a greater reality? So that's what we do.
Thank you for that. So no more horror movies for me, that's for sure. And then now, Brittany, so I will ask you a similar question. With mindfulness and meditation through sound bowl healing, how do you also incorporate the technology aspect of the recording studio and everything? I know you touched on it a little earlier, but if you could elaborate also on your techniques, if you will.
Sure. So I would say, well, tomorrow, if you're going to be here, we're going to be having a wellness session from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. With Tifftopia, who's the founder of 420 Yoga. It'll be an hour of yoga and about an hour of sound healing meditation also. And we decided to collaborate and do a meditation track together in the studio. And so it will be released tomorrow, and it will be like a free song to share for all of our people involved in Basel. And I would say, technology-wise, I mean, we do have a fully equipped recording studio, so I'll use an example for that specific song. I had my producer and engineer come in, we made certain beats with keys and drums, and then I brought all my sound bowls in, and I just listened on my headphones to what I felt would be a great frequency for 3 different bowls that I was using for this specific one in a Tibetan sound bowl. And using, of course, intuitively what you feel with sound would best record over actual drums to produce it and certain keys to make it into a song, because that's how you produce a beat and instrumental. And then being able to just channel a message of meditation between Tiffany and I, where we decided we didn't want to plan exactly what we're writing. We wanted to just feel what we felt everybody needed to hear for that time. And so what we're learning, I guess, tech-wise, integrated within this, we did a great, Jess and I, event called Music with AI at Soho House. Maybe that was last week or the week before. I'm like, I don't even remember at this point because life is crazy. And the certain ways to integrate tech into the music process is there are certain apps where you can produce a beat with, or you can kind of strip and take a song from, we used Frank Sinatra and Nuck If You Buck, which is completely different genres, and stripping away the vocals already by just using the beat, see how it's integrated together. And then we had we used from the audience certain words that we thought, even if they were so random, to write a song, which we did in ChatGPT, and then it ended up writing different verses and a hook for us to use. And we had a singer from the audience, shout out to Rachel, I think her name is, and she sang it, and we ended up making a song that we were on the beach using technology, which we were able to put together. And I think, and we're going to do another one in the studio because it was so awesome. But it's funny because when we do think about tech and how much it could help you along with the process, I know for me, if I don't have a producer there, that I can just find a different beat on AI. Of course, you can't really use it because it's a sample, you need clearance. However, in terms of just the creative process, I know that even when we were making the song and we were looking at Paperwater, the producers and artists who were with us, I was like, I don't know, like I would change that. That doesn't sound good. Because then like the executive producer brain in me is like, I would change this. I wish the melody sounded like that, you know? And you can have all the technology to help you to where you are, but I still believe in the humanist connection and your taste and what you believe would make a really great song, even with the help of tech. And even with meditation and wellness, there's so much that can be integrated within tech too. But I feel like personally in my studio and the way that I heal for now, I really try to strip everything away so you're back to the basics of what feels good for you. Like, how do you feel today as a human before your artistry? And how can you help create from that sense of completion, awareness, security, confidence, love, whatever growth that you're going through into your life? And then also just bringing that into a way of, why do I love to create music in the first place? What's my first memory that wanted me to even dive into following this path? In addition to wellness. So that's kind of what we're up to.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff going on in that. There's a lot going on. So yeah, I can see how you're using technology to kind of help assist that process. And like to what your point was earlier, Odie, the helping you with the mood board and creating process. Now, since you have so many kind of roles under your belt as an editor at large, a creative director, and the founder of Odd Creatives, how have you kind of implemented these tools, if you will, to your practice in all three of your roles?
Yeah, it is a sensitive subject because it has a lot of advantages and also disadvantages. Like you said, I think about like the fact that everyone needs to deliver faster. So I'm already delivering fast. So the fact that I need to deliver faster because the world is delivering faster makes it sometimes the process is like less deep. We all know that. We're from the same generation that is like, we read less, we have less patience, mostly because of our phone, because the information is right in our hand. So I think that the advantage is definitely my ability to do a lot of things at the same time, even better with AI. So I use ChatGPT for everything, especially as a foreigner, where you can already hear that my English it's not my native language. So it opened up so many doors for me that I know, like for example, to write a pitch for a brand, something that could have, like a year ago, it would have taken me like a week. Now I can do it in a few minutes. I don't send it as is, and that's the thing. That's the disadvantage that I feel a lot of people are not noticing. They're taking the output of ChatGPT and just using it as is, also in art, in text, in everything. And then we're all kind of like, we become a little bit more like machines, and that's the problem. That's the disadvantage. I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can, especially in my art. So if I generate something on Photoshop, that's the tool I use right now, I will do millions of versions until I feel that I'm one with the machine, that the machine actually understood me. So that's with visuals. With text, I will just change the whole thing. After I get the output, I will use it, but I have to change it because otherwise it's soulless. Like there's no soul there. So yeah. So I think it's just knowing how to use those tools for the better, and not like basically.
Use technology instead of technology using you.
Exactly. And then also people will be less scared of it. Because
Exactly.
it's not scary once you understand that it has no soul.
Yeah. And Jessica, with that, since you're the AI queen almost, I would say, how do you make that process a little bit more human and more closer to your soul, less soulless? Because like you say, sometimes you could prompt, AI to kind of do whatever it is that you want, and it's true. Like even for myself, if I use this for copywriting or whatever the case is, you get a very obviously robotic response, and this is also why I think a lot of college students are getting in trouble because they're not editing their work. But how do you humanize your work with AI a little bit more?
I think from listening to you both on what you just said, we're not from a I don't actually know how old everybody is on the stage. Everyone's so beautiful and youthful looking. But I will tell you, I'm not going to say my age. I don't really care. I'm 37. So we didn't grow up, thankfully, with the technology first, youth, right? So when you talk about the process of wait, why am I here working in music? Why do I like being a creative? And I like to think back as a producer, I always want to make the process easier so that everyone who's on my team as a creative is having the experience, which is what brought them to be there. So I think when it comes to technology or AI, and that whole process, because all of these tools are so exciting. Yes, I could skip past the inspiration process and go straight into something and make you but because I have the pause to be all right, well, does this feel like it's reflecting, my initial vision? I always wanted to, reading it back, just minding the pause and truly creating that moment to review and see if this reflects yourself. But sometimes about trying to get the robot in whichever app you're using to understand you. I have an interesting process of finding every profile of myself online, some type of link of LinkedIn or Instagram or my portfolio or my website, and I put those all together and I put it into ChatGPT and said, what do you perceive of me? What's my tone? What's my sweet spot of where I want to be, where I should, go in my career? I've done that, and that's been interesting to see, but it still doesn't feel spot on. So I think of course, thankfully we're not from a technology first, background. What I think is scary is if you are. And you're just starting with that, and you your sense of self is just through a screen, through this black mirror, I guess. Yeah. That is the part where, as much as we can, if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, whoever you are, however you can influence the process to get to paper, to use a pencil, to read an actual book. I think that is really, as pro AI as I am, I'm very thankful that I had a background of being bored and going to the streets and learning through Encyclopedia Britannica. Yeah. That's such something I'll never take for granted, and that made me, I know, a better creative. So that's, I guess, my own cheat code, but I don't know about what's going to happen. So that's all.
In the future. And Anna, what would be yours?
I think the most important part is to recognize that we are humans, and we have, of course, this energy that makes us being present and being alive. So one of the main things I encourage people and I try to share is that awareness of our beating hearts, of connecting with your smile, receiving the warmth of a hug. We cannot take that for granted. And that's what really changed the way you experience life. In studies about longevity, it's not about what you eat. If it's organic, if it's not organic, good, you're making a great choice. But what really, the highest standards of longevity comes with people that get together, very social connected communities. Those were the highest ranks of longevity are. So the power of getting together it's so powerful. The power of feeling, the power of experiencing life. So of course with a VR we can create an experience and you're gonna live it, yes. But you won't forget is your heart that it's beating. So if we embrace our humanity, all these amazing things are just tools. And that's how we use it, as tools, not as our life, not as our reality.
That's a great closing statement. And I think that's a great point to kind of bring in the theme together of humanizing AI. So we don't, as a generation, obviously there's multi-generations here, you know, from 37 to younger and older and experiencing different things within cultures and backgrounds. I mean, we have people from, I would say, all over the world just sitting up here now. And we all have cultural differences, we all have different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, what makes us come together is the fact that we're all human, we all have one beating heart, we all bleed red. And the way that I think it's not to be intimidated by technology, because in the past year, to Jessica's point, in the beginning when we first kind of started working together on the panels, it was more of like, well, I have this idea, like, do you think they'll go for it? And it's like, you know what, let's educate people on it to see how we can use technology as opposed to technology using you, and how you can use your inspiration as a human being. And to Brittany's point also, how do you feel as a human first and then a creative after, and how do you use technology as a tool as opposed to kind of using the process backwards onto seeing how can I use technology to brand myself. You brand yourself first and then you use technology to tell the world kind of who you are. So going into one of our other points is just going to be a little bit on, aside from obviously how do we humanize human technology, what are some of the things, we're actually coming to almost the end of our panel, what would be your 2024, like if you had one initiative that it's your goal for 2024 within obviously your industries, kind of either a bias that you want to kind of break, or anything that you just want to like have it be known for yourself in the industry for 2024, what would you say is kind of like your groundbreaking initiative for that?
Expanding the oneness into one like beating heart, you know, like energy is contagious. So just be part of this, grow this community where we all expand, where we all glow, where we all shine with purpose.
Continue the experiment of showing up in these places. I just want to make it look easy, and I want to make it look easy for other people to try whatever they're, you know, noodling on. Should I try it? Whatever I can do to kind of make it look easy and make it easier for someone else to, you know, follow their own little dreams as well, because we're just figuring it all out together. But we make it look real good. Sitting up here, so yeah, make it look easy, I guess.
I would say that because I thrive on collaborating with other people, and I just moved to my less than a month ago, I think that 2024 will be amazing if we'll work more together, and also not political, but everything is political. I'm Israeli, so obviously peace. I know it's big, but I'm just going to say it in this form, just like to say that through art, we will do what we can do, just work with more people, and like that will bring the peace within. So definitely important. There's nothing more important than that, to be honest. Just to create and to connect, that's all.
I would say, back to what Jess said about creating your own lane, because I'm with you. I think for 2024, I want everyone's lanes to come together whatever that destination is, if it's the most beautiful parking lot alive, that I think expansion, connection, collaboration for sure, and being so loud in the self-awareness, mental health space in every industry, that everybody wants to hop on board and find their lane where they can merge together, and peace, to just bring more to life in unity with community.
Perfect. Well, I wanted to thank you, all of you, for joining our panel. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Odie, Jessica, and Anna, for being part of this amazing panel. It was truly an honor to have all four of you from all different industries and doing such really cool things, honestly. And the fact that I believe all of you, you've just moved here a month ago, all of you have started this process in less than a year. Key Method is new, Creative Currents is also new this year, and Mindful Music Lab and Odie just got here literally 30 days ago. And I think it's beautiful that, like, Basel 2023, it's been less than a year of you ladies coming up with these amazing initiatives, and you guys are now here on stage talking about it. This will definitely not be the first time that you see and hear from them, so definitely stay tuned. If you guys don't have them on social media, please make sure that you follow Key Method, Creative Currents, Odie, it's Odd Creatives, but with 3 Ds, so please make sure that it's odd, it's very odd. And then obviously please follow Brittany at Mindful Music Lab on Instagram, just to keep up with all the amazing things. And like they said, Brittany will be hosting a wellness event tomorrow, and you guys can definitely be seeing more of these amazing ladies. Thank you so much for being part of this, and we'll see you in the next time.